This
Uh,
conference will now be recorded.
our speaker was not able to present the webinar today, so those two topics are now postponed. I'm not sure about Azure functions because I'm like it could be like he said that he will be joining by 6. If at all not, then I will continue with the other session. So today, like now, uh, what we will be doing is I will be presenting an webinar for with the topic Cognitive Services QnAMaker. QnAMaker is a service offered by Azure Cognitive Services. So we will be more exploring on that particular thing, and it has uh, phases. Like it starts with QnAMaker, then it has a knowledge base, then it has to connect with the Azure bot, to connect with some social channels like Telegram or Skype and everything. So what we will doing is it is not possible to cover in 1 hour, so I will more focus on QnAMaker service today. And I will take this session till 5:45, and then we will take a break of 10 to 15 minutes. Let's see whether the speaker joins at 6. If at all not, then I will continue with the second part. So to start with, again, welcome all of you. Thank you for this unplanned joining this unplanned webinar today. It was very shortly planned, and still you all are have joined. That's really great. Uh, so to start with, let's. I have purposely kept this image of for the Kerala, so everyone of us know that there is an disaster happening in Kerala in from past few days, and the people over there are really suffering with the loss of lives, loss of properties, and everything. So it's just uh, an attempt to pray for them to have to like pray for them to have the patience and to come out of the pain or relief to tackle these worst conditions. So to start with our session, let me quickly brief you about what is Dear Azure. So, Dear Azure is an online community for learning and growing with Microsoft Azure. We try to arrange free webinars as for the learning purpose for Azure services and products. We are planning to have Azure meetup soon. We do have our YouTube channel where all the technical videos are being uploaded. Even the recording of this webinars are uploaded. We try to share all the updates about Azure, the new comings, the new announcement with respect to Azure, and some tips and tricks with respect to learning Azure. So we do have a WhatsApp group, and we are present in almost all channels like Facebook, um, LinkedIn, and everywhere. So I will just, so these are the links, and if you notice, it is all with in the same familiar, sorry, pattern of like when we use Azure CLI, these are the sort of commands. So I just try to make you familiar with the same thing. So if at all, you can just go through this anytime and uh, can be a part of it. Every updates with regards to Azure, every updates with regards to the Dear Azure activities are being posted to these channels. And thank you for we have the co-sponsors for us for this free webinars. That is Nine Dots and Core Sizzler. So they are sponsoring this webinars by providing all the subscriptions and all those stuff. So let's start up. So today's agenda will be a high-level overview of QnAMaker architecture. Now, the QnAMaker is in cognitive services, so it has an again it is built up in upon Azure architecture. So we will look in a very high-level overview of it. We will get with a demo to start creating the QnAMaker service, and if at all, as I said earlier, if time permits, for the second session, we will try to create knowledge base with Azure bot, and uh, there is an feature, or can you say a part wherein earlier this Q&A maker was in preview, and now in this May it has gone generally available. So there are some migrations stuff about the knowledge base is a part of this, but let's see how it goes, how the thing goes. Okay, so to start with, Q&A maker. So what is Q&A maker? Q&A maker is an cognitive service. It comes under the knowledge category of cognitive offerings. Like we are planning for having a session on cognitive services again. But to give you an high level intro, cognitive services are helpful to infuse some in the human activities like learning, like listening, like responding, talking, into your web applications, into your mobile applications, into your bot. So these are the kind of services like it try to recognize, it try to act as a human, act reply as a human. And this, there are many services offering, it has been categorized into many things like knowledge, there are speech, there are vision, there are face detections and many things. So Q&A maker comes under knowledge base, sorry, comes under the knowledge category. Like what is QnA maker, what it exactly does it. So if you want to create for example, you're having an event, okay, and you have a certain FAQs with respect to your events, and it is possible like the users or the customers who will be attending your events must have those queries or concerns with you, and they will try to reach out for all this their queries, and it is not always possible to respond to them on time or within instant response, you can say. Though you have all these FAQs being documented into into your website or into any of the document form, and still you face such issues like customer try to reach out to you for getting those response. So bot is the best way to have the place in this kind of scenario. Like you can have a bot. If you have a bot can term it as a small application which try to respond in a conventional way, like two-way communication sort of thing. So you can if you have a bot and you just feed in all this FAQ, your FAQ questions or your question and answers into that bot, and you just placed in your application, and user comes in and just chat with that bot and place its query, and then you will get the reply. So this would be an easier way to communicate or to grow the audience. I would request all of you to please go on mute. Okay, thank you. So Q&A maker is a part of it. So I will not go much in conceptual way or getting into theory. So when we will start with the demo, you will be much familiar with what exactly I'm talking about and what exactly it does. So to give an high level overview of the Q&A maker architecture, so it is the architecture, the Q&A maker stack is distinguished into two things, two parts. That is, one is control panel and one is data panel. Control panel is nothing but to manage your bot, to create your bot, to uh, handle your bot. The control panel is the main area, you can say, where you will be able to manage or create or update your bots. Now the best part for the Q&A maker is it comes under the knowledge category. So if you want to Okay, I believe there was some loss of audio in between. Sorry for that. So, yes, so what I was into, like Q&A Maker is then only it gives you a web portal to develop a bot, and it is not necessary that you should have a knowledge of developing or coding or programming. It is an easy flow portal where you can just go and fit in some details and your bot is ready in minutes. So it comes with a tagline that FAQ to bot in minutes. A Q&A Maker comes with that particular tagline. So we will see in the demo. So there are two things, like there is one is web portal, and there are some management APIs wherein it also comes with an sort of web portal kind of UI, wherein you can feed in all the details and to the APIs as a request, and in the response it creates your bot. But we will be more focusing on web portal because that is much easier and with a wider scope of audience. QnAMaker runtime as a data plane. What happen is when you feed in the question and answers, uh, it's like when you provide your FAQ URL, your public URL. What it does, the Q&A maker extracts all the question and answer from that particular public URL, or if at all you feed some documents or something in a question answer format, Q&A maker service try to extract all that question and answers and create a knowledge base or a database, or you can say a backend for your bot. So that is termed as knowledge base in over here. So that particular question and answer is now stored in Azure Search. The runtime as such, like this QnA maker will be hosting will this entire abstraction and response and reply. There means once you create the knowledge base and publish it for the outer world, it creates an restful endpoint for talking with the bot, of for talking with the outer world. So this entire runtimes is deployed to Azure App Service, and all the chat logs which are happening with the bot, all the communications which are happening are saved in application insight. So the entire Q&A maker is built on Azure architecture. I know for if at all, like for the new ones, it could be some confusing. Uh, don't be confused. Just I'm going through this deck. It is there are only one or two slides. I too enjoy uh, like uh, displaying the demo, working with demo. So that kind of learning would be much useful. So it is just a kind of, I just wanted to give you an heads up like what at all we are talking about. So next, move to next slide. Great. So it starts with demo. So let me open up. Okay. So I will open up this Q&A maker portal, that is QnAMaker.ai. If you visit this QnA Maker AI, this is the web portal which I was talking about, offered by the QnA Maker, wherein you can directly create a knowledge base or create a database or create a backend for your bot. So we will look into this, we will explore this, but before that we will try to create the Q&A maker service. So for time being, let me click on this knowledge base, or we will do one thing, we will start with this knowledge base and then we will come to Q&A maker again. Let's utilize this time again so that it will be much easier for you to. Okay, so as you can see, there are few options like my knowledge base, create knowledge base. There is a documentation and feedback. So documentation is nothing but it provides all this architect about the architecture and working, which I explained you in the initial part. The feedback is nothing like if you want to give some feedback to the Q&A maker product team, or if you are facing some issues while working with it, you can very well type go to the feedback and work from it. Uh, So let's start with create a new knowledge base. So it comes with 5 steps and 5 easier steps. So you must be up till now you must be feeling that it's a very simple, easy go UI, right? No much complex forms and drags and drops, nothing. It's a clear step by step being explained over here. So let's start with creating a knowledge base. Now remember, now when I say knowledge base, it is a backend or a database for our bot, if at all user interacts with this bot or user interacts with this particular application, what answer or what response is to be given will this knowledge base would decide. Okay, so as you can see, the first step is create an Azure QnAMaker service for your knowledge base. If you have already have an Azure QnAMaker service for this knowledge base, skip this step. So here it says that we need to create the QnAMaker service, and as you can see, I don't have QnAMaker service as of now. So I will go to Azure portal, that is Azure portal.azure.com, and here we will start with creating the QnAMaker service. You can also directly click on this service, like this button, create a QnAMaker service. It will navigate you to the portal, that is portal.azure.com. So let's click on create a resource and type QnAMaker. So here it is. It comes under AI and machine learning. Just click over here, click on create. So as in religious fashion, please give me a 2 minutes break. Please give me a 2 minutes break. Thank you. Okay. Sorry for this break. Actually, there was some prayers was happening in background, so I like it could be an disturbance in the voice. So that's the reason I just kept on gone on mute. Okay, so let's start with an the religious way of creating the Azure service, that is giving it the name. So we'll give our QnAMaker name today as Dear Azure Demo. As it is a part of Azure and it is built upon on Azure, it's part of Azure resources. It should be like we should have a subscription, of course, an Azure subscription. You can also go with the Azure free trial account or Azure Pass of any of the account you do have for using the Azure resources. You can very well work upon this QnAMaker with that particular subscription. Now the main thing is the management pricing tier. So it has two options as of now. That is, one is free and the other is standard. As you can see, as it is with respect to the calls, both the tiers are same, like 3 calls per second. But if you notice the second part, that is the important part. That is for free. It is three management documents up to 1 MB each, and for the standard part there is no limit of number of managed documents. So what is this managed documents are all about? So when we create the knowledge base, like as we are doing it, and in the further step, that in the step number 3 it comes, we need to provide an public URL. We need to provide some source of content to feed in all that data. Like for example, I'm having an FAQ page which is publicly live access to everyone, and I just need to provide that particular URL in that step. And the Q&A maker uh, tries to extract all the question and answers in that particular public from that particular public URL, and create it as an um, call two columns and rows structure. Like column 1 would be question, column 2 would be answer, and the number of question and answers will be in the form of rows. So if you give one URL, that is being considered as one document. If you give two source, it is considered as two documents. If you give two URLs, one document, then it is considered as three managed documents. So if at all you are choosing going for the pricing tier as free, so you have to give you can only give up to three source, and that each source should that each data data from that each source should not exceed from 1 MB. So this is all about this tier. So let's go with the free tier, because as of now we are not adding up many contents. So let's go with this free tier. Again, being an Azure resource, it needs to be clubbed into a logical group, that is resource group. So let's create a new resource group altogether with the same name, or let it be in this way. Now, as I said, the question and answers will be uh, saved or would be a part of Azure search. So again, while creating this Q&A maker service, it gives an provision to select the pricing tier for that Azure search also. Now here also it depends, like you are entering how many managed documents or how many documents to added as an input source as a content for that particular bot. And these are the documents which as you start adding your knowledge base here in the Azure index, it start adding up as in documents. So uh, we will see that in demo further, but as of now we will go with this tier. It has few six options: free, basic, standard. It comes with six options. Great, so we will go with free tier, so as of for the demo. And again, it has many deciding factors, like which pricing tier you need to select for having your bot in place. uh, the search location, that is Azure search, it will create an Azure search also. So that is this location is the part of Azure search where it will get deployed. Now the runtime which I explained earlier would be the Azure app. So while creating the Q&A maker service, it will ask you again to create an Azure web app, and you can see it has already taken up the same name. You can go and change it just because it's an unique name. That's the reason it is still available. So it should be globally unique. This name should be globally unique because it comes as in dear Azure demo dot azure websites dot net. Okay. Now for the app service plan associated with this particular web app, now at the time of creating this service, it would be standard tier, that is S1 tier. uh, Going forward, like once it is being created, you can just go and update this tier. Like you can make it as free, or you can again increase its pricing tier anytime. But at the time of the creating this QnAMaker service, it comes with this S1 plan only. Again, the web app would be deployed in this location. So I'm not changing the locations. This depends upon where how you want to deploy your these services, in which area or which region. So I'm going on with this default region itself. uh, Now the app insight is not a mandatory. You can very well disable it if you want, but it is always recommended to make it enable, because all the chat logs which are happening, like once you create the knowledge base and once you make it live, once you connect it with some bot framework, and once you make it live with the audience, so what exactly the audience are coming up with the request or queries, those logs, those chat logs, like there could be a set of questions which you think the user may ask, but it would not be the case always, right? User could ask anything. So that particular thing and what your bot is replying, that all logs are being stored in this application inside. So it's better to keep this app inside, because it would not charge you, and it doesn't come with high charge. It is very much like minimal charges. So let's click on create. It will take few minutes, few seconds to, and we will see, like we created this Q&A maker and what all Azure resources it created along with the Q&A maker service. It's taking some time. We can go meanwhile to this resource group, and this was the resource group which we created, Dear Azure. So you can see it had started creating or deploying the services. So this is the app service plan. If we go to this app service plan, it would be with the standard S1 tier. Great, you can scale up or scale out from these options. If you want, like if you want to go up or you want to bring down this tier, you can very well do this now after it gets created. But at the time of creation, it will get created with S1 tier only. This is the search service. We'll pin it to dashboard for the future reference. And let's go over here. And this is our cognitive service, that is Q&A maker service, which got created. So it comes with keys. You can use it this keys into your application while calling in this service. You can change the pricing tier, that is the management tier, which earlier we selected for free. You can very well go and select it as standard from here. So now as we have created our cognitive services, now let's go back to the QnA Maker portal. Just refresh it once. So we have done with this step one. Let's go to step two. Here you need to select the ID, your tenant ID. I was being logged in with this. It will list the subscription. Okay, wait a minute. This. It will list the subscription. and the QnAMaker service. So we created this Dear Azure demo, and it will list all the, if at all there are multiple QnAMaker services being created under this subscription, this will list down all the QnAMaker service over here. You need to select the QnAMaker service to make it linked it with your knowledge base. So as of now we have only one. Let's select this. Now let's give a name, same name. You can give any name and you can change it anytime further. It is just referencing your knowledge base into this portal. So it has nothing to do with a it should not be a globally unique or such kind of thing. You can give it any name. Now the step 4, the important step. So here there are two options you can provide. Either you can give URLs, that is public URL. Now why I'm again and again mentioning as public URL, the reason is there are some queries coming in, like people ask whether we have an like organizations has their some contents, for example their some FAQs about their product manual or some details about their product, and it is being uploaded in some SharePoint portal, intranet SharePoint portal, and they try to provide that particular URL over here to extract and make a knowledge base. But that is not possible because because it is mandatory that the URL which you are providing over here should be publicly accessible. It should not be an URL where you need to authenticate or you need to provide some credentials to go in. No, that particular URL will not work. What you can do in that case is you can just copy and paste the entire question and answers into a Word document or an Excel document or a PDF document, and that particular document you can add it over here as a file. So we will do one thing. We will uh, give some URL. We will go for Azure FAQ URL. This is Azure free account FAQ. Okay, so let's go with this. Just paste it over here and click on add URL. Okay, now we'll do one thing. I was having a sample document, so you can see this document. I just created a few question and answers into this document. Like, is this a website for learning purpose? It is just a random question. I just wanted to show you as a demo, and that's the reason I just added any random questions and save it as a docs file. Now what I will do is we will try to upload this file demo. Okay. So you can see how easy and clean this UI is. Like if at all I want to add some other URL, I can just go and add it over here. If I want to delete it, this is the icon. So it is very easy to go. It is, and it really covers a wider scope of audience to come and build and to use this QnAMaker server. It is not necessary you need to be a technical or developer from background to create or use this portal. So this is one of the thing which makes QnAMaker service an very widely used service in the market, in the industry. So what we have done is we have added this one free account FAQ from this is a public URL which we saw, which is accessible over here, and one demo file was being added. uh, Now the fifth step is to just click on create your KB. So this will take a few seconds or a few minutes, based upon depends upon what input you have provided. So our there is only one file which is of which comes with 5 questions and one public URL. So it's now going to that URL, is trying to extract all the question and answers. Then it will read that particular file, it will extract that question and answers, and it will put up in one nice grid in the form of two columns, that is question and answers. That's it. See, it's started loading. So wow. So this is it comes with two columns, that is question and answers. Okay, and each a question is a part of row. You can see over here it displays 10 question per page. So you can go to here, second, third. So also it distinguish the input source which we provided, like it gives that this particular question and answers are from this source. Okay, if I will go to next one, yes, here it can be seen. So we gave two source for the content. That was, one was a file. So this was the file name demo bot, and the another, this was the URL. So if you want to see only the questions from that particular thing, so it comes over here. So there were 5 questions, right? This two, and okay. So these are the questions which got loaded, right? So now we are ready with the knowledge base. We are ready with the QnAMaker. So now what next? You can also add your questions manually. That is by clicking this add Q&A pair. So now the questions which you add manually is being termed as editorial part. Okay, so let's give it some name, greetings, or user can come up with hi, or could come up with hey, anything. So what will be the answer? We want to reply him with welcome to dear Azure demo bot. How may I help you? Anything, whatever question you want, you can provide it over here. So this will be a kind of manually added question. Like if at all users add greetings, or he says hi, or he says hey, so this would be the answer from our bot. So now what? So once you have added up, once you have created the QnAMaker service, then you have provided your input source as any of the URLs or documents, and it just extracted all the questions and it created this knowledge base. Now there are two steps which you need to follow religiously for making your knowledge base intact. So the first thing is save and train, wherein you have to where it will be this knowledge base would be saved, and in the term of cognitive, it will train this model for with this particular question and answer set, and publish will make this particular knowledge base live for the outer world. Like it will create, up till now this is just created a knowledge base, it is just with this Q&A portal. We cannot still access because we have not published it yet. So once you publish it, it will create an RESTful API by which you can connect with this particular knowledge base. You can just call that API from your applications, or you can integrate that API with your web service or any of the bot framework, and you can start using this knowledge base, or you can start using the this backend as your bot backend. So if I will click on, before that we'll go to search, we go to the resource group, dear Azure. Let me go to the search. I just wanted to show one thing, this which I, so see, this is the document count. I believe the total number of count over here would be 22, and that's why it is showing here as 22. Okay, so this is the test KB, this is the name of test KB. So as soon as when we will publish it, it will create one more index file that is of production. So there will be a two versions. Like, so one it is being published and another version which you are still modifying. So once, unless and until you click on publish, it is not live. Unless you just type it over here, you modify it, you click on save and train, it will be a part of this knowledge base only. That is this test KB only. But once you click on publish, then it will move this file to the production file. We will see that. So let's click on save and train. Let's go back again here. Let's click on refresh. Should get 24, I believe. No, it's 22. Okay. And now click on publish. So it, as it is for the first time I am publishing it, it says yet your service has never been deployed. Fine. Click on publish. So hitting on this publish button makes your knowledge base live. Great. So this is the URL, or this is the endpoint. So it has given a sample, it gives a sample HTTP request like to call in from your application. So this is nothing but an knowledge base ID. This is the host name, and this is the authorization key. And you have to post your question in the form of this question, and it will give you a response with an score and reply. So what I will do is to quickly show you the demo. I have already created this Azure bot service, that is web app bot. It is nothing but a combination of web app and Azure bot. We will go through this Azure bot in the coming session. I just want to show you how the that particular knowledge base would respond. So that's the reason I've created, I already created this. I'll just quickly show you. So don't worry, I will explain you what steps I'm doing. Let let me just for the demo purpose, let me do it quickly. So web app bot is nothing but an Azure bot service which you can which provides phases of developing a bot, like planning, building, uh, testing, deploying, publishing, and all. So we have already planned, we have already created the QnAMaker service, and now we are using this web app bot. So I will explain you later about this. Those who don't know about this web app bot, what I did is I just tried to integrate that our knowledge base, QnAMaker knowledge base, with the Azure bot framework, with providing some key parameters. And now in the bot itself, or sorry, in the web portal itself, it gives an provision to test. So let's type hi. So you can see that it is now responding from our knowledge base which we created, and it is responding in the same way, right? So I also gave hey, it should reply with the same message. So it comes with this demo dear. We can change the name. We will see what all things we can do with this Azure bot service in the next webinar. But as of now, I wanted to show like how easy it is to make your live FAQ content or your question and answers content just to provide that particular as a source in a web portal. It creates a knowledge base, and with the following few steps, like making it save and train and publishing it and integrating it with any bot. I am using Azure bot because I love using this Azure bot service. It comes up with a great features for connecting. Now I can connect this bot even with Telegram, with Skype, with Facebook Messenger, with Twilio, many of the channels easily with few just with following few steps. I can uh, test it, I can publish it, I can make changes in the bot right from this portal itself and publish it live. So I just want to show you one thing more. Like if at all I type what. No, this is there is nothing like this what in our uh, knowledge base. So that's why it responded with a the default or custom message that no good match in FAQ. We can also change this message which comes in as a default, and we can do it right away from this portal itself. We don't have to open up even any ID like Visual Studio or Visual Code, nothing. We can do it straight away from this particular portal. So this is the power of QnAMaker. This is the power of QnAMaker service and Azure bot. So I know it is like 5:50. So what I will do is uh, I will stop the session now. Okay, we will wait for 10 to 15 minutes, and we will try to join back at by 6:15. 6:15 would be good. Like you will get a break of at least 15 to 20 minutes. Take a break of 15 to 20 minutes, and we'll get back. We'll join back with the same URL, or I will provide the different URL over the channel, over the WhatsApp group. You can try to connect with that particular meeting URL, and we will see about this Azure web app, and we will try to connect this with. We will try to implement continuous integration, continuous deployment to this particular bot, and also we'll try to connect it live on some social channel. So and at that time, we will take up the question and answers. If you have any queries or concerns, we will take up in that particular session. So thank you for joining, and let's meet again after 10 to 15 minutes. Thank you. Bye bye.